What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Degenerate Podcast. We got another waiver wire episode for week 5. So, for the people that are new, I'm posting a separate episode for each position. So, go check it out, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast. Check out my feed. There is a separate waiver wire episode for each position. The criteria I use for these players, all of these players are 33% rostered or less. So at minimum, they are rostered in a third of leagues. So they are pretty widely available. Let's hop into it. I have 5 quarterbacks for you guys. Like I said, all 33% rostered or less. My number 1 is Justin Fields. I've been telling you guys to pick him up for weeks. He has a solid floor because of his rushing yards, but these last 2 weeks, we have seen his ceiling when he gives you passing production. This week, the Steelers play the Cowboys, who have allowed over 18 points per game to quarterbacks this season, and I expect Justin Fields to throw a decent amount this week because I think the Cowboys will put up some points. So number 1 pickup, Justin Fields. Number 2 is Geno Smith. He has also been on every single waiver wire episode so far this season. He's averaging over 19 points per game, and he has tons of playmakers that can make huge plays for him. And this week, he plays the Giants, who have allowed over 18 points per game to quarterbacks. He is a very solid option if you need a quarterback. Number 3 is Trevor Lawrence. It's been really rough for him and the Jaguars this season. He's only averaged 13 points per game. But last week, he had a decent game and gave you 17 points. And now the Jaguars play the Colts, who have allowed over 22 points per game to quarterbacks. So the player hasn't been great, but the matchup is pretty good. So I don't hate him if you need a quarterback. Number 4 is Daniel Jones. He gives you around 20 rushing yards per game, which helps his floor. And honestly, he hasn't looked terrible on tape this year. He still isn't great, but he hasn't looked terrible. And he has good playmakers in Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors, and Devin Singletary to make plays for him. He's also had 2 games this season over 22 points. So if you are desperate for a quarterback, I don't think he will kill your lineup. The last quarterback for this week is Bo Nix. So this one is a little gross. He's only had 1 good game this year, and it came against the Buccaneers. But this week, he plays the Raiders, who have allowed over 19 points per game to quarterbacks this season. He also gives you around 20 rushing yards per game, which helps his floor. So this is last resort, super last resort. But if you need a quarterback, the matchup is good for Bo Nix this week. I also want to bring up some streaming defenses for you guys. I have 3 options, all 33% rostered or less. My number 1 is the Broncos. They have shown to be a really good defense these last couple of weeks. The defense is the reason why the Broncos have won these last 2 games against the Bucs and the Jets. And this defense has scored over 10 points 2 weeks in a row. Now they play the Raiders, which is a great matchup for defenses. Number 2, I have the Commanders. I don't think they are an amazing defense, but the last 2 games they have shown major improvements. They had 4 sacks against Kyler Murray last week and ended up with 11 points. Now they play the Browns, who have allowed the most sacks in the NFL so far this season. My last one is the Patriots. They have been a decent defense the whole year. The only problem is the Patriots offense is so bad that it puts the defense in tough situations a lot. And because of that, they haven't scored many fantasy points. But this week, they played the Dolphins. And we saw how bad the Dolphins offense looked on Monday night. So those are 3 options if you need a defense. And that is going to be the end of the waiver wire show. Like I said, I have a separate episode for each position. Go check all of them out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love all of you.